he also confirmed in 1977 at his Vyas Puja. I was enumerating Prabhupada's, just a few of Prabhupada's outstanding accomplishments. And at one point he said, yes, he said, whatever I'm doing now, he said, I am simply doing, he said, I learned from the time when I was a child, from my father. He said, everything except one thing, book publishing. That I learned from my Guru Maharaj. And it's interesting that when I gave this lecture, because actually it was interesting, Vyas Puja, because Prabhupada was ill, but so basically the Vyas Puja glorification section was my talk. And somehow Prabhupada, Krishna empowered me actually to speak for 45 minutes on that day about Prabhupada. And it wasn't, Prabhupada just had me speak. It was in London. And 3 times only Prabhupada interrupted. And each time it was to say something about, and my Guru Maharaj ordered me to print books, or and my Guru Maharaj ordered me to publish books, to publish. 3 times he interrupted my lecture to insert this point, that my Guru Maharaj ordered me to publish books and distribute books. 3 times. Everything else was fine about the lecture, but somehow he wanted 3 times more emphasis on the book distribution. Very interesting.
Also, Prabhupada, he actually finished the 5th canto and the 7th canto in Hawaii, and he started the 6th canto and he started the 8th canto. And he, I can't remember which Bhagavatams it's in, but when he finished it, he said, by the mercy of Shri Shri Panchatattva, and he listed the devotees' names. I mean, the Panchatattva's names. And then in the 8th canto, he starts out talking about how that he has faithfully been trying to publish these books on the order of his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and he asked all the devotees to help him continue to publish more and more volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam. And that was all done in Hawaii, and we were always really proud, thinking that Prabhupada translates here more than anywhere else in the world. Prabhupada loves coming to Hawaii. So we felt very special in Hawaii, and Prabhupada would make us feel like that. I think he really did like Hawaii, and I think the devotees reciprocated with that mood, and just whatever we could do to make it special for Prabhupada, what we would do.
In Dallas in 1972, Srila Prabhupada, there's a very wonderful and flavorful story about how Sri Sri Radha Kalachandji came to the Dallas temple. It's very exciting. So the deities arrived the same day as Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada had instructed that the deities be installed in 2 days. So the deities were covered with a very sticky substance. So there were pieces of burlap stuck. And even in the painted areas, like his eyes, etc., there were little pieces of burlap and cloth that were getting stuck to it because they were continuing to be sticky. So the head pujari, Ichamati, she was very concerned because she knew that when we would be dressing the deities in the future, that we would have some difficulty. So we tried every solvent that we could think of. There was nothing that would activate this sticky substance to come off. It was something like dupe. It actually would come up, So Ichamati left me in charge of taking this stuff off at the end, when we'd already tried everything. And I'd already brought up the point of paint remover, and we had thought about it a little bit. And finally, she left, and I was still trying different substances. And then I began to use the paint remover, and how it happened, I don't know. I don't know if just in the course of using the paint remover on the large areas, if it came off on the painted area, however it started happening, I don't know. But my great offense was that in the end I decided to just go ahead. It was all right. I could go ahead and take all the paint off of the deities, and I could repaint them in 2 days' time. I had the confidence that I could do this. So I removed all the paint from the deities, and when the head pujari came back, she was in a total state of shock. I said, "That's all right," you know. She was in a state of shock. It was irreparable. And I began to understand what I had done, you know, in an unauthorized way. Now, I did not know at this time that these deities were already installed. I thought this was prior to them being installed. I didn't know that they had, in one sense, they had been worshipped and that they were 500-year-old deities. I didn't know any of this history at that time. This does not minimize my offense. But anyway, so then I'm painting all night long in Srila Prabhupada's quarters. I'm painting these deities. And then the next morning, all night long, and then I touched the deity, and the deity was totally wet. It was like I was using all this, what do you call it, Japan dryer, etc., and I was confident. And I could see something is wrong, something is not happening. This is not acting according to plan. The paint is totally wet. So Srila Prabhupada's on his morning walk, and Srila Maharaj, he informs Srila Prabhupada of the situation. And Srila Prabhupada stops, and he says, this is my version of it, the best that I can know. He said, "Pack my bags immediately. I am leaving this temple. You can do whatever you like with the deities, but just don't consult me." So naturally, I went into a suicidal state, very emotionally crying and devastated by my offense of having acted in an unauthorized way. And so then a meeting was called, and you have the GBC, the head pujari, the temple president, everyone's there. And it's in Srila Prabhupada's room. And Srila Prabhupada says, "So who has done this?" And everyone says, Janava did it. So then Srila Prabhupada turns his glance over to me. And he says, "Who told you to do this?" And at this moment, I was totally choked with emotion. There was no question of speech coming out of my mouth. And at the same time, I remember the Srimad Bhagavatam, where the bull does not blame anyone for his condition. So remembering this section of the Bhagavatam, I could have pointed my finger a few places, but I didn't. And I felt that I should not do this. And then Srila Prabhupada seemed a little, from within, I felt a little that Srila Prabhupada was condoning or approving that I'm not blaming someone else. So then Srila Prabhupada said, "Why did you do this?" And again, I'm so choked with emotion